Alrighty guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caleb, YouTube channel Dark Pixel. This is like the, I think second, third video I do reacting. So this one we're doing Am I the A-Hole? And basically this one is about, it says, my best friend's baby shower turned into a nightmare when she announced that my husband was the father. What happened next shocked everyone. So, before we start, I want to show you guys what I got today. I got the flying car. Very cool. And also the night bus. So, alright, let's get to this.
My best friend's baby shower turned into a nightmare when she announced that my husband was the father. What happened next shocked everyone. Yesterday, my husband, 32M, and I, 30F, went to my best friend Sarah's, 30F, baby shower. Sarah and I had been great friends since college. We first became roommates, but our connection got stronger as we realized our shared love of similar music. We went to concerts together and created innumerable memories. By our senior year of college, we were nearly inseparable, spending summers together in each other's houses whenever possible. After finishing our schooling, we pursued separate vocations. While I landed a highly sought-after position at a prestigious law firm, my ideal job, Sarah was unsure whether she wanted regular employment. Instead, she chose to look into social media as a source of income. Despite our dramatically different schedules, we made it a point to set aside weekends for each other. We always made time to connect, whether it was on a hike, at a new restaurant, out for drinks, or just staying home to watch movies. I first met Michael on one of our girls' evenings out. He was at his friend's bachelor celebration, and the moment I saw him, I knew he was the one for me. Although we often dispute over who fell in love first, the truth is that we both fell profoundly in love that same night. Fortunately, we've been blissfully married for 5 years, and it's been nothing short of ideal. I often tell Sarah how grateful I am that she invited me to the pub that night. Otherwise, I would not have met my beautiful spouse. Sarah was unmarried for a few years following my marriage before meeting her current spouse, Mark, and celebrating their second anniversary this year. 3 months ago, Sarah announced that she was pregnant, and I was overjoyed. I couldn't wait to watch my closest friend begin this new chapter in her life and hold her baby shortly.
That really is a big thing. I have my best friend. She lives in New York. So we're about 5 hours from each other because she's like in border line with Canada. Getting to be there throughout her pregnancies and everything and her wedding, it's like the biggest thing you could do. So I hope one day she can experience that with me, but I had the honor of being able to experience that with her.
I was honored when Sarah entrusted me with organizing her baby shower because I would be the baby's godmother. After exploring numerous themes, we settled on yellow, Sarah's favorite hue. Throughout the planning process, I maintained regular contact with the caterer to ensure that everything was in order and that the cake arrived on schedule. As fate would have it, I had previously worked with the caterer for my brother's wedding, so it was easy to work with her again. On the day of the shower, we arrived early to ensure that everything was great. Mark met us at the door and informed us that Sarah was still getting ready. While setting up, I discovered that the cake was not centered on the table as Sarah requested, so I corrected it. Soon after, the visitors began to arrive, and I was delighted to see several of our old college pals. We hadn't seen one another in years, so we used the chance to catch up and discuss critical life updates. Sarah entered the room wearing a bright yellow outfit that matched her baby shower theme. Everyone congratulated her, and she smiled radiantly. As the ceremony progressed, we all sat down to eat a great lunch. Everything looked to be going well until Sarah called everyone's attention. She stood up and thanked us for attending her baby shower. Then she took a deep breath and said, "I'm thrilled to tell you that my husband, Mark, and I are expecting our first child, and I have someone very special to thank for that." Mark looked at Sarah with a bewildered expression, trying to figure out what was going on. Then, pointing directly at my husband, "Michael," she exclaimed, "Everyone, I'd like to introduce the father of our baby." I nearly choked on my dinner. The room was silent, and I could see everyone was surprised and unsure how to respond. My mind raced to make sense of what was going on. My husband, who dislikes attention and prefers to keep to himself, grabbed my hand hard under the table. I turned to look at him, and he seemed as perplexed as I was. All eyes were on us in an uncomfortable and awkward quiet. I looked to Sarah, looking for an answer. Just to give you some context, my husband and I have been trying to conceive for years with no success. Despite several testing, we have been unable to become pregnant owing to personal medical difficulties. I've only told a few family members and close friends about my difficulties, including Sarah. My husband and I eventually accepted that we might not be able to get pregnant. Rather than dwell on it, we decided to concentrate on our lives as a couple. Sarah openly referring to my husband as the father of her baby was a lie, but I couldn't help but be affected by her statements. My eyes welled up with tears, and I tried not to cry in front of everyone. Sarah jumped up laughing and playfully shoved her husband Mark, shouting, "I was just kidding, guys. This is all just a prank for my Instagram. I've put up cameras everywhere to capture all of your reactions." As everyone glanced around,
For me, I would forget that she's pregnant if she comes out saying that at the end that it's a prank. I wouldn't be able to control myself.
puzzled, I couldn't help but be annoyed at Sarah for putting us on such an emotional roller coaster. I couldn't believe my best friend felt pointing out my spouse as the father of her child was humorous, especially given our past issues. I turned to look at my spouse and noticed that his face was flushed. He was still holding my hands, and I could sense he was ashamed at the time. Although a few visitors laughed nervously, the room was generally uncomfortable. I noted that Sarah's husband, Mark, did not join in the laughs. He appeared upset rather than amused, and even apologized to my husband. Mark and my husband had grown to be close friends over the years, and I believe he felt sorry for us at the time. I did not want to face Sarah right away and ruin her baby shower. As she continued with the festivities, I attempted to shake the dread that had crept in, but it persisted. After lunch, we played a few games before opening all the gifts. Sarah was the only one who appeared to be having fun, conversing with people and shooting images for social media. My husband had previously informed me privately that he intended to leave after the awful meal, but I urged him to stay. I didn't want the visitors to notice us leaving unexpectedly, so I told him I'd talk to Sarah about it later. I guess Mark, too, was uncomfortable continuing with the celebration since he immediately stood up with an angry expression. He asked Sarah if they could go outside for a bit, and I knew something was about to happen. We could all see and hear them plainly as they spoke, and it was clear that Sarah's joke had made the atmosphere in the room uncomfortable. I observed as their talk heated up, and Mark's motions became increasingly impassioned by the minute. Mark's voice increased, and his comments echoed across the room. "I can't believe you would do something like this. They are our closest friends, and this is not just a harmless prank. You made a mockery of our baby shower and humiliated me in front of everyone." Sarah kept saying she thought it was a harmless prank, but Mark was having none of it. He sternly advised her to grow up and stop making insensitive comments, especially since they were celebrating the birth of their child. The room had become uncomfortably silent. We could all hear their words plainly. My husband couldn't stand it any longer, so he got up and went, saying he'd wait for me in the car. Although my heart grieved for my friend, I recognized how hurt my husband was and could not blame him for leaving. Mark must have recognized the gravity of Sarah's actions as he watched my husband walk out. He glanced at Sarah and responded, "I'm done. I'm done with your immaturity. We're done. I will love this child, but I can't be with you for 1 second longer." When Sarah heard this, she burst into tears, and Mark departed the gathering. We all glanced at each other in surprise, unsure how to respond. My heart ached for my dearest buddy, but I knew my husband needed me more at the time. I did not want to approach Sarah after her painful.
I'm sorry, after she would have said it was a prank, I would have just left. I would have been like, nope, end of friendship, end of everything. I don't play that type of jokes.
Chat with Mark, so I too left the baby shower without saying goodbye. When I arrived home, I noticed how upset my husband was. We couldn't believe Sarah had pulled such a nasty hoax on us. That evening, Mark texted us an apology, stating he had no idea she would perform such a hoax for a video and was sorry for all we had been through. We were delighted he reached out because we didn't want to have any ill will toward him and fully understood his point of view. Unfortunately, I awoke today to multiple messages from Sarah. She said that she pulled the prank out of stress from her pregnancy and simply wanted to make a viral video for her Instagram. She stated she didn't understand why we were unhappy and wondered why I left without saying goodbye. Then she requested me to meet her today so that I could take her to her gynecologist visit. Starting to get upset again, I told her that I didn't find her joke amusing at all. I told her that what she did was rude and had made both my husband and me very uncomfortable. I also informed her that I needed some time away from her and would be unable to accompany her to her appointment that day. Sarah retaliated by labeling me a shitty friend for abandoning her at such a vulnerable moment. This message truly bothered me. I couldn't believe she'd say something like that just because I needed space. When I told my husband about Sarah's message, he was just as outraged as I was. He urged that we avoid interacting with her until she comprehended the gravity of her conduct. I decided to send Sarah one final message, informing her that I would not be speaking with her until she apologized to both me and my husband for what she had done. I also made it plain that if she attempted to upload the prank film, I would take legal action against her. Rather than apologize, Sarah stated that she did not believe she had done anything wrong. She even suggested that I was jealous of her due to her pregnancy. When I read her response, I couldn't believe my eyes. This woman, who had been my best friend for over a decade, assumed I was jealous of her, despite the fact that I had gone above and beyond to provide her with the ultimate baby shower. Sarah assured me she would not be uploading the film, but she insisted that I put my sentiments aside and assist her at this difficult time. She stated that her husband hadn't returned home the night before and that she needed me more than before. As a non-confrontational person, I found myself in tears after reading her callous messages. Recognizing that I couldn't continue this conversation, I made the difficult decision to block her without further answer. Now I'm conflicted. Part of me regrets not being.
I would have done that from the beginning. I would have just blocked her. Because from the looks of it, she's never gonna apologize. She's not gonna say, she was wrong. So from the beginning, I would have just blocked her.
Being there for my pregnant best friend, but another part of me is relieved and even grateful that her husband dumped her after the trick she pulled on us. Update 1. It's been a week since my last update, and a lot has happened. First and foremost, I want to highlight that Sarah is not the type of person who likes to joke around. It took me completely by surprise when she pulled off this joke. I've known her for years, and she's never been the sort to perpetrate pranks on others. Anyway, Mark was serious about leaving Sarah. My spouse chatted with Mark over the weekend and discovered that he is actively looking for a divorce lawyer. Since that day, Sarah has been persistently phoning and texting Mark, insisting that he return to her and get over his feelings. However, Mark has entirely ignored her attempts to contact him. She even went so far as to accuse him of sleeping with me, which was absolutely unexpected. The truth is that Mark is simply sorry that his marriage is coming to an end because Sarah is gradually becoming someone he no longer recognizes. Sarah has been unable to reach me directly after I blocked her. Instead, she left a lengthy note for my husband. She accused him of attempting to destroy our friendship.
It's Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, your DSCC chair, and I need your help immediately.
Even claiming that he
Sorry guys, commercial.
isn't much of a man, because he can't get me pregnant. I was upset when my husband showed me the note when he returned from work yesterday. Until now, I had tried to ignore her unexpected change in behavior, figuring that it was caused by pregnant hormones. But her derogatory remarks to my spouse were utterly wrong. That was when I decided to teach her a lesson. I was in charge of both the baby shower and the baby registry. I had spent numerous hours with Sarah discussing her needs and compiling a list of important goods for the baby. However, Sarah insisted that we include ridiculously costly items on the list, things that not all attendees could buy. During the baby shower, I noted that while some guests followed the list, others presented her with practical goods that were not on the list but would still benefit a new mother. Sarah was genuinely upset about it. Originally, I intended to personally give her a handful of the pricey goods she desired. However, after she crossed the line by insulting my husband, I promptly canceled the order and erased the baby registry to ensure she could not access it. If she wanted one now, she'd have to start from scratch. Additionally, I received a message from the caterer about the baby shower a few days ago, but I was too consumed with dealing with Sarah to answer. As a surprise gift to Sarah, I had previously paid half of the catering service's booking fees and planned to pay the remaining balance after the baby shower. However, given everything that had transpired, I became distracted and entirely forgot about it. I called the caterer and explained the situation to Sarah. I informed her that given what had happened, I would not be paying the remaining sum. The caterer was very kind and advised me that because Sarah had booked the catering service under her own name and had communicated with them prior to the baby shower, the final payment would be sent to Sarah rather than me. I was happy that I wouldn't have to spend any more money on someone who had publicly insulted us and continued to cause us harm with her harsh text messages. I also told my spouse what happened, and he found it humorous. Although I had pondered contacting Sarah in the previous few days, once she sent that letter to my husband, I realized that I had gone beyond the point of forgiving. I'm grateful to everyone who backed me and helped me recognize how harmful her conduct was. Looking back, I can recall several occasions when she criticized me, but I never paid much heed to them, until now. Anyway, I'm going to remain positive and move on from this experience. I do not want to waste any more time or energy on her. Update 2, this woman is unashamed. Sarah sent me an email several days after I spoke with the caterer. As soon as her name appeared in my email, I knew she was back with her bullshit. In the email, she accused me of being cheap for not paying for the full food service, although knowing I could afford it. She stated I had always been arrogant because I was born into my family's wealth, and then she expressed her relief that I could never conceive. She went on to say that she had been using me for years to make her life easy. Then she repeatedly called me unattractive and implied that I was undeserving of my spouse. She also said that
See, a lot of people do this when they don't have their way and they see that they're not getting the attention that they want. They lash out to try to make the other person feel bad. I've seen that so much that it's gotten to a point that now I just ignore.
my husband married me just for my money because I was too ugly to be with him. She then called me an expletive for allegedly putting a wedge between her and her spouse. Throughout the email, she used explosive profanity, essentially calling me every foul name under the sun. I showed the email to my husband, who quickly deleted it. Over the years, we've both gone above and beyond to assist this woman. We were there for her when she was single and distraught over several breakups. We've brought her on vacation with us and even paid for her flight and hotel room on multiple occasions. My spouse had even assisted Sarah's parents by restoring their home and lending them money a while back. We'd always treated her like family. Furious, my husband immediately contacted Mark and invited him over for dinner to discuss the problem. When Mark came, we handed him the email, and his expression was utter contempt. He then gave us text conversations from Sarah, in which she used similar profanity and even accused him of cheating. We were deeply shocked by the gravity of the charge, as it was not something to be simply flung around or uttered in anger toward one's spouse. It was difficult to imagine that my former best buddy, whom I had just recently parted ways with, had changed so significantly. Mark told us that he was in contact with a reputable divorce lawyer. According to his lawyer's advice, he never responded to Sarah's texts, no matter how insane or cruel they were, and instead saved screenshots of everything she sent him. He also photographed the email she had sent me so he could show it to his lawyer. Since I wrote the original article, I've had a few DMs from folks who are concerned about Sarah, presuming she has neurological abnormalities as a result of her rapid change in behavior. I'd like to add that she's always had temper issues. Even while we were in college, I saw her lose her temper and use profanity toward others, even in public. Though I really doubt this is a medical issue, my husband and I will nevertheless contact her parents about the situation. We want to tell them everything and show them all of the messages and emails she has sent us. If they believe there is something wrong with her after that, it is their responsibility to take her for a medical checkup. Despite everything, I do not intend to unblock her or answer her email. I have gone above and above for this woman, and for her to continue mistreating, belittling, and disrespecting me is beyond disappointing. I intend to put this experience behind me and focus on enjoying life with my spouse and our dogs. The last few months have been a roller coaster of emotions, to say the least. I hope everyone is having a good start to the new year, just as my husband and I are. We're here in the Maldives, taking a much-needed break from our hectic careers. Given the events of the past year, we decided to take a break from work and unwind. So far, we've spent our days relaxing on the beach and sipping cool cocktails at the resort. Update. Several of you have requested an update, and as expected, Mark and Sarah have officially split. The court case was heated, with Mark's lawyer providing evidence as well as their previously agreed upon premarital agreement. Despite Sarah's best efforts, she and her lawyer were unable to win the case. However, both parties have been instructed to develop a co-parenting plan in the best interests of their child. When we contacted Sarah's parents about her erratic conduct, we discovered that she needed to move back in with them. Apparently, due to her pregnancy and lack of proper work experience, she was unable to support herself for long using only social media. She had no choice but to return to her parents' residence. I also discovered from our mutual friends that after the disastrous baby shower, everyone quickly distanced themselves from her. Nobody wanted to become involved in her drama. Mark did not visit Sarah after filing for divorce until she went into labor. He stayed in the delivery room all night to witness the birth of their daughter. He has since devoted himself to caring for the baby, spending as much time with her as possible, and providing financial support as agreed upon. He still meets up with my husband on weekends, whether to play golf or have drinks in the evening. Sarah was forced to pay the remaining bill for the baby shower caterer after he threatened legal action. Sarah has sent me several emails in which she blames me for her life circumstances. Despite her parents subjecting her to numerous medical tests, she is completely healthy. As a result, there is no excuse for her immature behavior. Hopefully, for the sake of her daughter, she will strive to change and become a better person in the future. My husband and I did not let this situation affect our happy and healthy marriage. We moved on from it within a month and concentrated on our personal and professional lives. We still go on Sunday dates, just like when we first started dating. When I look at my husband, I still feel the same excitement and appreciation that I did when we first met. I'm grateful to be spending my life with him. I'd also like to express my sympathy to all of the couples who have expressed their difficulties with infertility. I want you to know that it's perfectly fine, life takes its own course, and we must trust the journey. If you genuinely love your partner, there are numerous other ways to become parents. However, my husband and I are content with each other's company and have decided to spend the rest of our lives happily together.
Okay. So, I'm kind of agree with her decision. I would have just kept her blocked, not answer at all. Just the fact of everything that she did, she would have done the same thing. Blocked, unfriend her, don't care, live your life, do what you want to do. But yeah, that's crazy that so many years of friendship, and because she did something wrong, she blocked her, she lashed out. And because she lashed out, she tried to make everybody feel bad for her. And at the end of the day, you do something to someone, it's going to come back to you. And it's going to hit back double. Okay, alright guys, so this is the video for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.